I mean, at a point of time when I was in college and all, it used to be robotics and dancing, right? After that, when I was in 12th, when I was in engineering, also it was some part of dance again, and stuff like that. But today, if you think about it, at one point of time, probably building, I'm trying to automate my house, right? At one point of time, I'm deep into some game that I'm playing on my Xbox. And some point of time, I don't know, I'm researching on a specific topic like machine learning or whatever, right? Going deep into it right now. If you ask me, since last 15 days I've been deep into VR. So I've been playing a lot of IB cricket on my Oculus, and every time I sneak in 30 minutes of a break, I would just put on my VR headset and start playing cricket, right? Because I absolutely enjoy playing cricket. So it's never been the same thing for me. And always, right, if there's a Stranger Things coming in, everything goes to the side, right? You focus on Stranger Things. And that's really important, huh? When I say, hey, if you're watching Netflix, you can't be successful, that's not what I mean, right? You should enjoy, you should live your life. What I mean by that is you should not be only watching Netflix, right? But yeah.
So I'm sure most of the people here have been following your content, and your tool of the day series really gives us access to tools that aid you to work smart. Now, what is your process of discovering these unconventional and fascinating tools? And if I may ask, what is the tool of the day today?
Oh wow, what is the tool of the day today? Okay, okay, I'll get to that tool of the day today, because I found a tool today because I had to. But there is no process of finding these tools. Again, it's always about trying to look for something, trying to find a solution. And the easiest way of finding a solution is to find a tool which will do the job for you rather than you doing it, right? For example, right, I'm going to give you a very super simplistic example of what happened today. So I was out there. I just came back. I was out there looking for a nice watch. Right, I'm a watch geek. I really like watches. So I was out there to get like a nice watch, and I was in a mall spending time, and I couldn't really figure out. Right, I wanted a watch strip for which I couldn't really figure out where I could get that watch strip from, right? What is the way you go on? You go to Google and try searching, right? So instead of that, I said, hey, is there a watch finding tool, right? Is there a website where you can find spare parts of second-hand watches spares, right? Because they're already discarded watches, right? Like for example, if your great grandfather had a Rolex which doesn't work anymore, but the strip is still out there, right? And these are very premium jewelry, right? So I eventually found a tool. Now I don't even remember, it's some Swiss name. I found a website like that, right? Which actually does the job rather than I going to Google and scrabbling across, right? That's essentially how I find tools, right? Uh, every time I'm looking for a solution, whatever the problem that I'm trying to solve, I just put the keyword tool next to it. And you usually, if there's a tool built around it, you'll find it, and you experiment with five, six of them. One will work. If it works, that becomes the tool of the day, right? So that's pretty much how it goes. It's basically Google, right? You're just trying to be smarter about searching about it, so that if you're very lazy, right, about things, you always find easier ways of going about it. So I'm so lazy that I don't even want to Google, right? I want a tool to do it for me. So yeah.
Now, Discovery Android, an extremely successful project, but with a tragic abruption. I was wondering if you could elaborate more on the flow of events and emotions that you went through with this venture.
Yeah, I mean, how do I put it? So the real story of discovering Android started because I had a very bad breakup. Right, I was looking for a way to keep myself busy, and I was too deep into Android back in the day. Right, I was one of the first people to use Android in my college, and there were these paid applications which I wanted for free. I wanted to see like this is almost like a mini computer. What all can we do with this? So we started to go to all these forums to kind of figure out how to break things, right? Uh, and I figured out a lot of things, and I thought, hey, it will be great if I'm able to curate all this information on a platform, right? And that is pretty much what discovering Android was, right? So we started to create blogs, we started to consulting and all that stuff for Android specifically, right? That is what it was. But here's the thing, right? Like people like Google owned Android, right? And Google, when you break something on Google, you're pretty much attacking on Google's business. And the way discovering Android was making money was via Google, because we were running Google ads, right? There was something called as AdSense, which was running on our websites, which was making us money, right? And when Google realized we are teaching people on how to break internet, how to break Android, Google basically said, "Dude, what the fuck?" Right? So they kind of blocked us from being anywhere on the internet. So when people started to search for discovering Android, they couldn't find it. Forget about the blog articles. They literally like kicked us out of the search engine. Like if you find discovering Android, you'll find me. Find me. Itna bhi nahi hai. But there is something called as penalization. As a result, our search scores went for a toss. There were barely any people coming onto our website. Google owed us some $5,000, which they literally cancelled, saying that we are not going to pay you anything. Screw you, right? So that is what happened. But it was okay, right? Like we were very excited about it that we're going to make a lot of money. We didn't make it, but we learned a ton of things, which eventually led to my second startup, which was Crazy Heads, right? So a lot of learning, and that was fun. And I remember sitting and crying a day because I was like, "Hey, this is done, right? What is done," and we were laughing, saying that, "Dude, as long as it lasted, it was fun because we pulled it off, right? Without having any idea of what we'll be doing." So yeah, that was pretty much the story, and it's not so tragic. Yeah, like every time, right, when something doesn't work the way you want it to be, a lot of people think it's failure. The way I look at it is not failure; it's actually a lot of learnings from it. So what did you learn from this mistake that you can pretty much use going forward? And that's how I look at all throughout in my life, right? uh, that way I'm a little optimistic, I might say. Right, बोलते हैं ना जो भी होता है अच्छे के लिए होता है. So that's how I think, and it was fine. I mean, I don't even remember for a day like, damn man, अभी क्या करेंगे, ऐसा कुछ सोचा नहीं. अच्छा, we got blocked. Okay, can we do anything? We tried, we freaked out, and then like, okay, let's go to Subway, have a sub, have a Coke, chill out, let's figure out what to do next, and that's what happened.
Clearly, you seem like the kind of person that's just like whatever the issue is can be figured out. It can be solved. Have you ever been in an extreme high pressure situation and how have you dealt with that?
Called growth, right? Every other day, it's a high pressure situation. So the easy to freak out, according to me, right? It goes back to the exact point that you told. Everything can be figured out, right? No matter how high. For me, a recent high pressure situation was RBI created a new regulation. We run a lot of ads at Growth School, okay, like a lot, okay, and because of some new RBI regulation, all of our ads stopped. When ads stop, your business stops, right? And this was the case for suddenly like 20 days back. It was crazy, right? But we're like, okay, fine, man. Like, it's okay if it's not just us, right, who is facing this situation. The world is not going to change. We might go a little low, little slow. Let's figure out a solution. So always when you calm down and stop freaking out, right, you always find the solution, if not immediately, in some time, right? uh, and that's usually how I deal about it. Like, it's okay. That's what I think. It's okay, it's fine. I mean, see, if you can do something about it, you do about it, right? And you know what you have to do. If you're helpless, RBI changed the freaking rule. You can't do anything about it. You can only like crib and shout, and that's pretty much it, right? So screw that.
You can only do something about what's in your control. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us more about Growth School and what brings in you the need to pass on everything that you've learned? Do you enjoy teaching?
Oh, I love teaching. I've been a teacher for forever. So I'll tell you the story, right? I was deep into robotics till my 10th grade. After my 10th grade, I did my first workshop. That was that was a robotics workshop where we were teaching engineering college students and all that. That was fun. In my 12th, I used to teach uncles and aunts in a center on how to use computers for my pocket money. Uh, yeah, that's quite a story in itself, for some other day maybe. When I was in engineering, I started to teach people ethics of those stuff. For the first 4 years of my engineering, when I joined Uber, I started teaching people marketing. And if towards the end, I started teaching people to do personal development, personal branding, personal development, LinkedIn, how to use LinkedIn, how to use Instagram, and all that stuff. right? And I continue to do that today, right? Like growth hacking and social media, personal branding is my thing, right? So I think I've always been a teacher at heart, though I sucked at education. But I've always been a teacher at heart, and that I feel it's very natural to me to teach. I enjoy doing it. In fact, right after this call, I have a session, right, with around probably like 800 people attending that. So where I'm teaching LinkedIn. So yeah, I personally love teaching, but I feel fundamentally there's a problem with education, right? Like, I mean, I don't know which college you're from. Which college are you from?
I'm from CMS, Jain University.
Okay. How many of the professors are people who actually do or actually have done what they teach today to you?
Oh, very few. Very, very few.
That's the problem with education, right? People who teach us are not people who actually do, right? They're not practitioners. They don't know shit about what they're teaching. They're reading books and telling you what has to be done, and that's the biggest flaw of education today, not just in India, in most of the places in the world, right? I said, dude, this is not the right way of going about it. And top of that, few people do get good education, people who make it to the top IITs, IIMs and all that, right? Even there it doesn't exist, but okay, to an extent it's fine because you're getting the community in picture, right? So I said, how can we solve that problem? How can we get access to people who are actually doing stuff and you can learn from them? How can you learn from someone who you want to become? Right? Let's say you want to become a marketer, right? How can I make sure, and you want to work for companies like Google or Facebook? How can I teach you? I mean, wouldn't that be great if you could learn someone at Google who's working at Google as a marketer, and he teaches you or she teaches you marketing,
Absolutely.
right? Can there be a better person to teach you? No, right? So that's essentially what we're doing at Growth School. We're giving you access to the top 1% so you can learn from them directly, right? So I'm hoping in a few years colleges become irrelevant in a way, and you start learning from people who do, not just teach,
That's interesting.
right? And that's pretty much what Growth School is. So yeah, if you guys are keen, we have like what you can. So far we've just started, yeah, but we teach marketing, design, product, crypto, NFTs, YouTube, public speaking, content, a bunch of things, right? You can just go to growthschool.io and check it out. Yeah.
Definitely. Startup after startup, if there's anyone that's been able to aim all their darts on bullseye, it's you. How would you suggest one should go about the process of figuring out that perfect idea?
No, yeah, I mean, I've not been able to hit everything on bullseye. I mean, not even close, right? Like, what you see on the outside is very different to what's happening inside, right? You try 100 things, one work, and one that comes out is what makes the name, right? So definitely not hitting the bullseye every freaking time. So what I would like to tell everybody is be persistent, right? You will fail, and if you're not failing, something is wrong, right? You will fail, and you will fail repeatedly. As long as you're learning from your failures, as long as you're improvising on based on that, you're good. I mean, that's pretty much what you have to think about. So yeah.
Okay. Now, on the note of startups, I am going to attach a link to this forum. Um, this is to. Can you still hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can.
So I'm going to attach a link to basement, Red Bull basement. Um, let me just do that. Okay.